Good evening, everyone. How you doing tonight? Hi, Nana. Hi, Debbie. Hi, Sherry. Hi, Joe. Hi, Matt. Hi, Debbie. Martin. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Tia. Hi, Melinda. Hi, Tracy. Hi, Brian. Hi, Deborah. Hi, Melinda. Hi, Glenda. How you guys doing tonight? Hope everyone's having a great night out there, and all around the U.S. and all around the world, of course, if you're tuning in on any other channel. I'm watching chat and Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and everywhere else. But good evening, Brian. How you doing? Hopefully everyone has having a good night out there. Of course, looking at what's happening with the blockade starting Canada to what's going to happen here in the U.S. this weekend. Blockade's supposed to be starting there. Of course, the truckers' COVID vaccine protests spreading globally puts new pressures on Canada to the U.S. put new pressures today on Canada to end the blockade. Of course, the biggest pressure is to clear the bridge, blocking the border crossing between U.S. and Canada, in a protest over vaccine mandates and other COVID restrictions. The Ambassador Bridge in Detroit is responsible for more than $390 million in daily goods. The economic fallout causing production disruptions. Of course, at least 5 major auto manufacturers. One estimates puts the lost wages for workers in Michigan alone at $51 million just from this week. Well, this isn't about just hurting. It's not about hurting workers. This is about making a difference and seizing a change. This is about making a change happen no matter what. There has been closed for about 5 days now, forcing drivers to drive a different, smaller border crossing about 2 hours outside of Denver. So it's just more driving, of course, for the drivers that are still running. Thing is, drivers don't want to run. Drivers don't want to run in this situation. They don't like being forced to, and they don't want to be. But what's happened today is a judge has finally granted an injunction tonight. Judge grants injunction to end Ambassador Bridge trucker blockade. Protesting blockade, the Ambassador Bridge have to move one way or another. Ontario Superior Court Chief Justice Jeffrey Moritz granted an injunction this evening, and it goes into effect at 7 p.m. where they're at. About 2 hours after the court's decision to give protesters an opportunity to clear the area. As we know, we will be seeing if anybody goes live about the protest, but nobody has moved yet that we know of. Police are gathering at the bridge to enforce the recent ruling. The protesters show no sign of leaving or fear. In an ominous yet unofficial vote, they've decided to stay. Rather than packing up, they play Smash Mouth, waving flags and cheering. Intermittently, yells of freedom echo through the crowd. 7 p.m. rolled around. Demonstrators lift the sky with blue fireworks. The police had not yet to make a move around 8 p.m. tonight so far. Authorities handed out notices advising protesters that they should clear the area by midnight or face fines or jail time. Of course, if you want to see a copy of that notice, I'll put it up here in just a second. But it is crazy going on out there. Yeah, they're trying to shut it down, but it just ain't working that way. Shutting down a movement is harder than shutting down just some people just standing up for their rights. This is a movement that's happening. This is something that came well beyond what they were expecting. We respect their rights to stand for their freedoms and stand for what they feel is right. I don't know how else to say it. We respect those rights and freedoms here in the U.S. Not every country has those rights and those freedoms. Going on out there, I mean, they're doing something. They're standing up for their rights, which I believe in 100%. Something Americans will be starting to do this weekend. Hopefully, the truckers that are the Freedom Convoy here in the U.S. will be pretty well organized when we do start showing up, and people will get the message very clearly. Someone who's making the new glass pipes, $80 million to do this. Sorry. Oh yeah, we'll talk about the glass pipes in a second, because the safe smoking kits are real. Like I've already talked about last night, there's a lot more than 80 million of these kits being made. But they're like California already has safe smoking kits that are being paid for by this $30 million bill, or 80 million reasons why people should. It just doesn't make sense. We're promoting drug use at this point. We're giving out needles to drug addicts. We're giving out drug paraphernalia to drug addicts instead of arresting them for it and trying to get them treatment. We're giving them and facilitating them to commit crimes. Of course, that leads to overdoses. We already have an opium crisis here in the United States as it is. We already have people overdosing at a higher rate than any other time in history because of this. Emboldening addictions. Enabling them. At what point does enough is enough? The United States needs to stand up and say something about it. And we need to stand up and say something as a union. Because this is becoming ridiculous and damaging to society. They want to break the family structure, the nuclear family. Just keep giving out, where these kits are distributed and where these vending machines are being put in poor communities and higher ethnic rate in communities. And you're telling me they're not trying to destroy the nuclear family? You're telling me they're not trying to destroy what's happening here in America with the movement of actually coming back to America? We're seeing it every day. This is ridiculous, and it's going to keep happening because nobody is standing up to them at this point. Biden's just making things go crazy from worse to worse. I don't even know how to say it. Things are going down the toilet quick. There's so many distractions going on right now. So many things happening at once. And of course, today said on his interview in NBC, how would he do that? How would he send troops in to rescue Americans? How would he even find them? Biden said following and clarified that Biden would not send in troops to rescue Americans. That's a world war. When America and Russia start shooting at one another, the president said, I'm hoping that if he's, in fact, he's foolish enough to go in, he's smart enough not to do anything that would negatively impact on American citizens. If he goes in, our Ukraine, he doesn't care. He does not care. You think he's going to stop? Yeah, he sent another 3,000 people to Poland today. It's over 3,000 what he's actually sent. It's 3,000 troops, but the supporting units and everything else comes around 3,600 troops today. Went to Poland. This is not going to stop. It's a further escalation. He thinks he's using a strategic plan of moving troops and making Putin afraid. Putin's not afraid. But and then a follow-up question, Biden was asked, if he told Putin that endangering Americans was a line that he could not cross. Biden said he had, then immediately contradicted himself, implying that he hadn't, because he did not need to. He said yes at first, and were there a red line? And then when Biden was pressed answering, he said, I didn't have to tell him that. I spoke about that, and he knows that. Are you just saying that a foreign dictator knows that no matter what happens, you don't mess with America? Especially right now. Look at what we did in Afghanistan. Look at the ridiculous that happened there. Taking now Afghanistan's seized funds, redistributing amongst Americans, and giving foreign aid with it. This is the second time we seized funds from another country and used it for other reasons than the country's original purpose. It wasn't our money, but yet we took control of it. I close by telling Americans in Ukraine, you should leave now. We're dealing with one of the world's largest armies in the world. It's a very different situation. Things could go crazy quickly. Of course they're going to go crazy quickly. You keep escalating it. One punch after another. It's like giving fireworks to a 2-year-old and telling them, don't blow yourself up. It is sad. Sad night here in the U.S. It's a sad place for us to be in this situation. And when is the shoe going to drop? As we're already seeing markets getting hit. Russia's responding to U.S. and NATO on security. We're already seeing stocks go down over 500 points today. The Dow fell over 500 points. Oil hits over $93 a barrel on the Russian-UK tensions. Oil prices are just starting to go up. Oil prices are just starting to go up. We're just seeing this happen. (1.4% loss today in the S&P. NASDAQ and composites were down 1.7 and 2.7 respectively. This is not even on the tip of inflation or what the Federal Reserve is going to do. We haven't even gotten to that yet. This is on just what's happened today in tensions. Russia's moved over 40,000 troops in the last 24 hours within the Ukraine area. Biden has pulled his personal assets out of foreign countries like Germany, where his yacht was parked. That's worth a couple $1 billion. His personal yacht has been pulled away from Germany into international waters. Putin is moving everything of his assets that is anywhere in the world besides Russia or China out. Selling everything he owns. He's not stupid. He knows what's happening. I was saying within this weekend there'll be an attack too, but I hope not. I pray not. I pray for the people in Ukraine. Pray for the people that are dealing with this every day. I mean, if Russia does invade Ukraine and we hit them with sanctions, the European nation needs oil. They're depending on Russia right now for oil and natural gas. That means they have to come to us to get it. And that happens, then we're short on oil. Our oil prices will go up, almost doubling overnight. Not to mention the loss of life in Ukraine. Loss of life in Ukraine alone. Gas prices will double overnight, and that's a guarantee. That is a guarantee. Right now, Ukraine has 44 million people in Ukraine. Half of Germany's population, more than Poland. Yes, this is live now, Lisa. Climate change scam has to end. It does have to end. Whether they think it's a scam or not, climate change agenda has to end. There is no chance that this is going to happen anytime soon. Yeah, I'm waiting for China to move. I guarantee if Russia moves, we will see China move at the same time. Whether they're in the middle of an Olympics or not, they don't care. Gas prices, $4.78 in Washington. $4.19 in Arizona. That's ridiculous. Yeah. Trudeau is back something he has to keep backing, otherwise he won't make his money back. And you know what's sad is the mandates end in March anyways. So if the mandates are going to end in March, why not end them now and just destroy everything else? Yeah, we have Twitch, Rumble, YouTube, everything, Lisa. You can check out any of our channels. We're live on all of them every time we go live, unless we're speaking about something we can't speak about live on Facebook, unfortunately. That's just the way life works. If you go on Rumble, please hit that plus button though down on the bottom that says Rumble. Definitely need more information about that. No, I haven't gotten into the HIV, the jab. It's just ridiculous. Tacoma, poof, 468. That's ridiculous. Yes, I do have Rumble. I went and paid for it. One of our viewers actually paid for it for us. Definitely appreciate that. Thank you, Joe. You don't have to pay for Rumble. No, we pay for Rumble. If you're just a viewer, you do not have to pay to watch it. Food is. Yeah. Well, we'll get to food in a second. There's so much going on. Talk about inflation, of course, and we know what's happening with the market crashing. But have we really seen the real numbers and the interest rate or the real rates of inflation? Or are they significantly higher? Of course, we learned that consumer price index was 7.5% higher in January than it was a year ago. But are we being told this was higher reading since February 1982? And that sounds really bad. But is it exactly honest? Because the truth is that the way inflation rates are calculated has been changed more than 24 times since 1980. So if we're going to compare the rates of inflation to historical numbers, we should actually do it apples to apples comparison. Fortunately, someone out there who takes care of the math for us, according to John Williams, is inflating. If inflation was calculated the same way it was back in 1990, the official rate of inflation would be over 10% right now. If inflation were calculated the way it was back in 1980, the official inflation rate would be over 15%. Let's be honest. So inflation is actually at 15%. If we're using the same calculations that we're talking about when inflation was at its highest point. So then our record breaking goes way, way back. Used cars are nearly 40% or 40% higher cost than last year. The government's using methodologies to give us a false rate of security. Official rates of inflation are more than double official numbers that we have just been given. A false security, a false sense of security, so people feel better about themselves. I mean, gas is up almost 40%. Rental cars, 29%. Household utilities are up 24% as of the time of the study. Hotels, 21%. Furniture was only up 20%. Bacon was up 36%. Steak, 28%. Peanut butter, 15%. Pork, 14%. Fish, 13%. Eggs, 13%. Electric, up 11%. Chicken, 10%. Oranges, 10%. I mean, this is ridiculous. With energy prices up a whopping 27% over the last year. Gasoline prices skyrocketing 40% over the past year. Natural gas is surging 22%. How can people afford to pay their bills? And they wonder why consumer settlements are falling at a stunning 8.2% in February so far. Consumer settlements are down. Customers are not going out and buying goods on loans or mortgages. They're buying goods on credit cards because they have to, but they're no longer buying bigger purchases. Americans see what's coming as we're facing these facts tonight. Consumer sentiments index fell by almost 27% from last year at this time. And it captures a moment in time telling you what's happening. They use figures that don't even affect average Americans. The price of a diamond, the price of rare minerals that don't even get traded regularly. It's ridiculous. The fact is, it's only going to get worse. Of course, Biden promised that to work like the devil to bring gas prices down. That's his exact words on yesterday. To work like the devil to bring gas prices down. What kind of demonic garbage is that shit from an American president? I am sorry, but this is freaking ridiculous. At that point, gold and silver is the only thing that hasn't gone through inflation yet, Dave. I think we're going to war. I don't think there's an option to stop it. But how is an American president going to say work like the devil to bring down gas prices? I mean, that's just ridiculous. Beyond ridiculous. He's already ordered a very large release from strategic petroleum reserves back in November, and that didn't work. And what's very stupid about doing that is because we're going to need those reserves someday. These aren't the national reserves. These are the national reserves are already empty. These are the national strategic reserves that are reserved for wartime purposes only when we run out of oil during wartime. He's already been dumping that oil across America, trying to lower fuel rates. The more expensive items seem to be dairy, meat, and produce when you go to the grocery store. Sad. You can buy junk food cheap still. He's not going to open our pipelines again. He doesn't want it. If we go to war, will there be a midterm election? That's a good question, Matt. It depends on where the war is and how bad the war is. Because during a war, people usually don't elect new officials. Even if they don't like the officials they have in place right now, they usually don't elect new ones. It is ridiculous. And this is facts we're facing here in America on a daily basis. Consumer sentiments swelling 8.2% in February alone so far is a huge question of what America thinks about the economy and its future. If Americans are not willing to take a loan, not willing to buy a car on credit, not willing to even buy a house on credit, what does that say to you? I wonder if Putin has a favorite flavor of ice cream too. Probably does. Biden brands. Biden brands is probably his favorite flavor. Biden has to have brains in the first place. And is Hillary returning to run for office? That's a big question. As Hillary is slated to speak at New York State's Democratic convention next week, according to reports. This could be it. Hillary could try to run for president again. Imagine that. She didn't get charged, but yet she ends up there anyways. I could just see it. I could see it now. Hillary Trump candidacy 2024. She's the gift that no one wants that keeps on giving. I don't think they'll get away with it in 2024. Russia responds to what's going on though in NATO by moving the over 40,000 troops last night, building huge military bases overnight or standing bases overnight. Yeah, I'm grateful to own my own home. I don't know how people would do it today. Especially with the interest rates on the verge of going up. I mean, a 0.5% increase looking at March when they had their meeting here in March. That'd be devastating. People don't realize when the interest rates go up by 0.5% of the Federal Reserve, that means you're probably going to get a 2 or 3% bump on any mortgage or any kind of interest rate you try to get out in public. Why doesn't Putin want Ukraine in NATO? That's an easy question. Okay, would we want Mexico or China to join, or Canada to join Russia or a Russian alliance, allowing Russian military bases inside of China or inside of Mexico? Would we want that? Technically, if you ever want to question why Putin does not want Ukraine in or NATO or Ukraine and NATO, it's because he does not want. He wants security. NATO is a strategic military plan between several countries that make agreements to protect each other under any circumstances from their enemies. Yeah, and that's China or Russia is moving and on the borders, getting closer and closer day by day. And Biden thinks he's king. He's just going to keep making empty threats or veiled threats and nothing. Yep, that's exactly where we're involved. Money. Somebody got some money, and we can't back down from helping Ukraine now. Russia and Ukraine are both not NATO allies, but the problem is Ukraine is an entrance ground into Europe. I don't think Putin would move into Europe anytime soon. It has 17 years. Yeah, it's an agreement, a pact, treaty. It is sad. And we're watching everything that we work for here in America go down the drain. 72 years old. World Health Organization started 1 year before that. Oh my God. That was 1940. You know what? When you look at this, is how you know you're getting older. When you look at dates like 1949, it doesn't seem that long. But that was 72 years ago. Oh boy. It's crazy. People are having a hard time this year, and it's not going to get any easier. People need to sell their stocks. It's going to drop. Inflation rate, of course, is causing the interest rate is going to be raised by the Feds, which is going to cause stocks to, of course, take a huge hit. If you're in stocks and bonds, sell them off. Buy gold or silver. Buy something stable. You're not going to make it in the market. You're going to end up losing money in the long run. Right now, we're at the top of a bubble, just like the market, the web bubble, everything else. Our market is fake money. It's flooded with fake money right now, and the fake money is not going to hold long. We're not going to be able to make that fake money, worth anything more, especially not if we go to war. A stable currency is gold and silver, currency that's traded world round. 15-year-old skater from Russia today got banned from the Olympics. Found doping. I don't know if she's was doping being forced to in Russia, or of course you can assume that. Joe has brought us down to levels below what anybody or any country should ever be at as we face what's happening. I don't know. Joe's approval ratings keep slipping, and they will keep slipping at this point. Nobody wants to back a horse that is losing the race. performance-enhancing drugs. She's a child. That's what I'm saying. She was probably forced. I feel bad for her. There's a lot more to it than that, Barbara. Yeah, like him, much less want him to be president. Let's be honest. That's the real stuff right there. Waiting for Pat King to go live here. I thought he was going to come live. He said at 10 o'clock, but I do not see him yet. Give us an update. What's happening out there with the truckers and what's happening in California tonight? As truckers are supposed to, of course, start gathering there. California to show support. God bless you guys. We definitely appreciate you guys being here. Keep a lookout for Pat King to come live here in a little bit because we are going to be signing off. If you can afford to donate, please do. We definitely need to raise money for Easter. We've only raised next to nothing. Quite a bit for Easter baskets. I am getting some other people involved in it now. We'll have multiple gaming channels, of course, hosting the Easter basket fundraiser with us. And hopefully multiple other channels going in as well. But if you're going to donate, please do. We're trying to raise a lot of money here. Help a lot of people out. It's called the Easter Basket Project. We're on donorbox.org. We are official. We can actually be on a real donor website because we have all the paperwork in. God bless you guys. Good night. Stay safe, stay strong, stand tall. We will be live if anything, of course, happens at any time. That is breaking news. God bless you all. Be safe out there. And we'll see you tomorrow night at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time if nothing happens. Good night.